Hey, aloha, folks, and good morning. Welcome to this edition of Community Matters on yet again another stellar Sunday morning here in Hawaii. My name is Rick Amati, your host, and today, thoroughly delighted that we're going to be talking all about Special Olympics Hawaii. And joining us in studio today is Kyle Karioka, who is Development Manager for Special Olympics Hawaii. And first of all, Kyle, we want to thank you for joining us, and a very good morning.
Good morning, Rick. Happy to be here.
Well, tell you what, we always like to get to know our friends a little bit better, and it's our first time together on the air. Kyle, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. Well, my title is Development Manager for Special Olympics Hawaii. Proud to work for a great nonprofit organization here in Hawaii. I've been on board for about 3 years now, and my primary job is to raise funds to support our Special Olympics athletes.
And Kyle, how about yourself? Born and raised here or mainland?
Born and raised here. Went to Roosevelt High School. Proud graduate of Roosevelt High School. Went to a school in the mainland for college. Came back, did some political fundraising, and now doing nonprofit fundraising, and happy to work for a proud organization, Special Olympics.
Absolutely. So background-wise, was this your field of study, field of endeavor when you were planning things out?
Not exactly. I was an international studies major in college, just another liberal arts major. No, they say about fundraising, nobody really grows up to be a fundraiser. You kind of just get thrown into it.
Right.
That's how it happened for me. And it's been a good career so far. Been very happy and very happy to work for a great organization.
Excellent. And family, married, kids, and all that good stuff?
Single. Just moved out of my parents' house last year.
All right.
Still trying to get that family part going.
Yeah.
But happy to be working for Special Olympics.
All right. There we have it. Well, Special Olympics, very top of mind. Very many people aware of Special Olympics, but maybe not some of the details that makes it such a unique organization. Can you take us back to the beginning? What was the inception of and the creation of and all that of Special Olympics?
Special Olympics was founded in 1968 by Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who was, of course, brother of the late John F. Kennedy, president. She started a day camp for athletes with intellectual disabilities and soon realized that this was something she needed to take national. Held the first national games for Special Olympics in Chicago in 1968, which was the first year that we also held our first Special Olympics in Hawaii. So that's over 47 years now, I believe, in Special Olympics in Hawaii that we're celebrating. And we've been holding games continuously since that time.
Can you help us understand a little bit previous to Eunice and the creation of Special Olympics? Was there an avenue or an outlet for folks to participate in sports who were challenged and things of that nature to where we see today?
There really wasn't anything for athletes with intellectual disabilities. They were largely a persecuted group of people back then. They used to be sent to institutions, locked up behind doors, and even some chained to the floor back in the early part of the century. And Eunice, when she started this program, really wanted to not only provide athletic opportunities for athletes with intellectual disabilities, but also bring greater awareness to the community of what they're capable of and the gifts they're able to share with all of us. And not just what their disabilities prevent them to do, but what their abilities are able to have them do and have them show throughout the community.
It is, it's almost scandalous. I mean, it was scandalous of how we as a society and as a community did treat those that had special needs or special circumstance. And many of us point to the Special Olympics to do exactly as you just outlined. We get to focus on these great abilities and the competitive nature and all of that we associate with regular Olympics, yeah?
Exactly, and our athletes are extremely competitive. They want to compete just as much as anybody else. They love being out there representing their teams. And without Special Olympics, many of these athletes can't compete in high school sports or club sports. And so this is the only place where they can really are able to, form relationships with team members, to form friendships with people that share similar experiences with them, and to really just compete and have fun.
Yeah. What do you love about what you do?
I love meeting the families and just talking to them about how their lives have changed with Special Olympics in their child's lives. How they speak about how they, their children didn't really want to be active or get up or have anything really to work towards. But now with Special Olympics, they are able to follow rules better. They're able to build a community of friends. They're able to really build these relationships that they never were able to have, and they have something that that they can really work towards, like a goal that that just brings them joy and happiness, and also a purpose to keep moving forward.
How was the local chapter, if you will, of Special Olympics? What was the beginnings here at home?
Well, we initially just had, I believe, a summer games, just one time a year kind of event, and soon the organization formed into a nonprofit with its own board of directors, executive director, to start from that one yearly event into year-round training and competition. So right now we have 3 large statewide events, but also about 50 other little competitions that occur throughout the year. So really every week there's almost something going on with Special Olympics every week of the year now, from not just one event.
So the criteria, so folks have kind of a baseline, in order to qualify or to be eligible for special events participation, can you walk us through a little bit?
Sure. Well, basically, if you qualify for special education in high school, you would qualify for Special Olympics. Mm-hmm. So we are serving those with intellectual disabilities. So some people have the misconception that we're with the Paralympics with people who might have those kinds of physical disabilities, but we are separate from that, and we only serve those with intellectual disabilities.
Yeah. The participation level with Special Olympics here at home, how would you gauge that with a potential pool of folks who are eligible to those who actually do?
Well, right now we have about 27, for the exact number is 2,761 athletes in the state of Hawaii.
Okay.
We estimate that there are about 14,000 individuals with intellectual disabilities in Hawaii. So there is quite a gap between those who are able to, that we might be able to serve and those that we actually do serve. And we are continuing to provide more outreach to that community, since we serve the entire community, not just children, as some people might think, but we serve children and adults from 8 years old all the way up to, we have an athlete who's over 80, and he plays basketball, and he's probably a lot better than I am from what I've seen.
I can guarantee you he's a lot better than I am. There wouldn't be a question about that. The outreach for Special Olympics, I would imagine that a great outlet would be schools and other organizations to call folks to come on and enjoy and participate, right?
We have a great partnership with the Department of Education in Hawaii, allowing us to be in there and do outreach for special needs individuals, since they also acknowledge that Special Olympics helps to improve outcomes for those in education as well. It's not just teaching them how to throw a ball or run around a field. It's teaching them how to follow the rules, how to respect authority. And so we're giving people life skills here, and it's not just sports and throwing around a ball.
That was actually my next point, is that transition, is that for folks who may not be as immersed or involved or perhaps being proactive about what their next steps in life are going to be, that this is a great way to kind of set the table, instill motivation, and expand possibilities and reveal things that maybe folks never thought possible before.
Exactly, and we have statistics to prove that as well. Mm-hmm. Within the wider intellectually disabled community, about 14% of athletes are employed, or not athletes, individuals are employed. Within the Special Olympics, it's about 52%.
Oh, okay.
So, while our job is not to teach job training skills and, life skills, we have found that we are a great way to teach those skills, and we help to create individuals who are productive members of society and not burdens on society.
Amen. The determination of the games, of what your athletes at Special Olympics in which they participate, how is that determined?
Well, athletes are able to choose what types of sports they like to play. We offer 9 sports throughout the year, and so they can be a one-sport athlete and participate in one season a year. We have 3 seasons. Or they can be a 3-sport athlete and participate all year round. Majority of our athletes do participate in more than one sport. And so, for example, you might have an athlete who participates in swimming during the summer games, participates in soccer during the fall season, and then is a bowler during the winter season.
And I love the fact that there is that element of choice. And just curiously, how do parents... I'll back up a little bit, because I know that there are parents in sports everywhere that tend to hover, that would push, that would this. And good, bad, or indifferent, everyone can make up their own judgment call on that. But how do you view the relationship between parent and Special Olympic athlete and that dynamic? What do you witness?
It's very similar to what you would see, on an AYSO soccer field or something like that as well. We have parents who are also coaches who lead what we call delegations, who are like the teams of individuals. But it's just great to see a parent who, might have not been able to see their child succeed in anything as successfully before, watch their son or daughter, really progress and build skills and relationships and, flourish in that environment.
Yeah. And first of all, sports in and of itself is such a great enabler in many different ways. But I think with the Special Olympics and just a background, when I was in high school, one of our service clubs, that we were great supporters of Special Olympics. And what I loved the most was the pure joy of the athletes, of just participating and while competing and with all of us there at the finish line or what have you to greet them and just watching just the incredible happiness that's derived out of this group.
That's exactly right. And because for a lot of these athletes, it's the first time they can, really win in participation in a sporting event. We do make sure that athletes compete with those of similar abilities. Mm-hmm. So a win is a real win. It's not, an empty victory where somebody's set up to win or something like that.
Right.
Where you have, two people in a race or something like that. But everybody is divisioned with individuals of similar ability. So when you do that race, it'll be an even race, and the winner will be the best person who worked their hardest,
Excellent.
who trained the hardest that season.
Excellent. You mentioned 9 sports. Can you walk us through the 9 and just kind of give us an idea of?
Sure. In the summer we have softball, powerlifting, swimming, and track and field.
Okay.
In the fall we have bocce ball and soccer. In the winter we have bowling and basketball, and we have winter bocce as well, which is in a separate season.
For folks who may not know, can you explain what bocce is?
Bocce is Italian lawn bowling. So you have 2 different colored of balls, and basically, if you've seen curling on TV, it's very similar to curling, except you have solid ceramic balls instead of those large stones that you throw down an ice rink.
Yeah, I would imagine our Winter Olympics are a little bit different than in other locales. Can we talk about volunteers for just a moment? How important are volunteers to the organization?
Volunteers are absolutely critical to our program. We did a count a few years ago, and we estimated that we use over 6,000 volunteers.
Wow!
That doesn't include coaches and officials, but also just event volunteers who help bring ice to the athletes during the games, who help provide the meals. It's just a huge effort, and we really wouldn't be able to do this without the support of our volunteer groups.
That is tremendous. How does one become a volunteer?
A lot of our volunteer groups have been with us for a very long time, so they love coming out again and again. But if you're just an individual or another group that would like to come and sign up, you can just go on our website and look for sign up for updates, and we do all of our volunteer recruitment by email.
Right. What's the website?
Oh, sorry. The website is www.specialolympicshawaii.org. There's a little button that says volunteer at the top. You can just click on that and get signed up.
So also, because I'm on your site right now, torch run. Is this the literal torch run that we're all familiar with?
Yes, we have a torch run every year that is staffed by our law enforcement volunteers. So every state has its own torch run, but Torch Run is also a separate organization of law enforcement officers, police officers, military, who come together to raise funds and awareness for Special Olympics also. Mm-hmm.
It's such an important component and a necessary component, of course, for raising monies. Now, this Sunday is the culmination of one that so many of us are familiar with, and that, of course, is Cop on Top.
Yes, this morning we have our law enforcement officers on 20-foot scaffolding in the parking lots of Walmarts and other shopping centers around the state. They're up there. They've been up there all weekend. They can't come down until they raise $15,000 per site. So you're heading out shopping today, please stop by Walmart, say hi to our cops, and hopefully draw off a little donation to support our athletes.
How long has Cop on Top been in existence now?
This is our 11th annual Cop on Top. We're actually one of the pioneers of this event when we started this a few years ago, and now many other states and Special Olympics groups have taken this idea and implemented it in their own areas.
Was this an original idea here in Hawaii?
Yes, we had our first. Well, actually, it's kind of started on the mainland. Some of them started doing these on Krispy Kreme donut shops on the roof. The cops would stay on the roof.
There's an obvious connection in there somewhere.
Donuts and cops can't separate them from each other. But actually, the first year that we did, we had Officer Kurt Kendro from the Honolulu Police Department stay on the roof of the Aikahi Twin movie theater in Waikiki.
The theater. Yeah.
And so we started there, and since expanded to a statewide presence now, and we don't just have the HPD involved, but we also have military police, the Hawaii Air National Guard, and a bunch of even Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol comes out to support us.
No kidding.
So every law enforcement agency in the state has been supportive of our athletes, and we're happy to have them involved in Cop on Top as well.
Now, I got to ask you, of course, Kyle, if you've actually been up on top as well.
I have, and I've never had to stay overnight, but I don't know how they do it, especially in those busy parking lots like Walmart and Keeaumoku, where it's been closed in and they're 24 hours, and you've got car alarms and horns and people yelling at each other. You know, it's quite an atmosphere, but they're there 24 hours. They're collecting donations 24 hours because the store is open 24 hours. So, you know, they're there working hard, and they can only come down to use the bathroom. So it's not like they can go home and take a shower or nap anytime. They have to be there.
That's right. What kind of shifts do they work, or do they volunteer for? Do you know?
Well, the officers are there all weekend, so they can't leave. But we have ground crew volunteers who they bring in, who are other law enforcement personnel, and also other of our Special Olympics volunteers who come in. We have 3 shifts a day.
Good. So the guys that are up there, they've been up there.
Yes, they've been up there all weekend. Some of those who haven't, some of those who you might see on the ground haven't been there all weekend. But the cops, you can wave hi to them. You can make sure they're there. They've been there since Friday at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. Good for them. Good for them. See, I didn't realize. I thought maybe there was some shifts involved, but they're there the entire time. So do they generate pledges based on the number of hours that they're going to be there, or is it primarily because we've contributed just right at the parking lot in the past? Yep.
So we have volunteers collecting donations at the base of the scaffolding and also at the door of Walmart. So if you'd like to help get our cops down so they can take a nap and take a shower, you can drop in a little donation and get that done.
You mentioned Walmart, and clearly a big sponsor. Would you like to share with us who some of the primary sponsors are that are also assisting with Special Olympics and this particular event?
Thanks, Rick. I'd love to. Our site sponsors, so we have Walmart, absolutely, and they have their stores statewide. We are also at several shopping centers around the state, so Coco Marina Shopping Center, Kaneohe Bay Shopping Center, Aikahi Shopping Center, and we also Meadow Gold is a statewide sponsor as well of Cop on Top.
How are you finding, because I know that it's a challenging time for nonprofits and businesses, etc. How are you finding the community response in supporting Special Olympics Hawaii?
Well, last year Cop on Top raised about $220,000 statewide for Special Olympics Hawaii, and we've been able to raise about that much for the last 5 or 6 years. And so even though the economy is not quite what it used to be, our community members are as generous as they have ever been.
Isn't that amazing? That's a great testament to our town. And I think you find this as well. You've worked in other areas, and I think people for here at home, remarkably generous if they can identify and understand what the mission is. And clearly the mission of Special Olympics Hawaii, as you outlined earlier, boy, that's a valiant mission.
Absolutely. And not a lot of people know what we do at Special Olympics, but not a lot of people know that we don't charge our athletes to participate in Special Olympics.
Good point.
So every dollar that we raise helps to provide those programs for our athletes. And many of our athletes come from families that might not be able to afford, certain paid dues like a AYSO or a Pop Warner football. So if we had to start charging, we might lose a good portion of them.
Sure.
And the fact that we are able to provide these services at no charge really lets us have the widest audience possible and as many athletes as possible participate.
Yeah, I hear and I understand what the potential could be of growth and expansion. Is there a key to having more athletes join in? Is there and how to encourage others to come on board?
Sure. And if you know of anybody who would like to become a Special Olympics athlete, they can also visit our website and sign up as well. Mm-hmm. But most of our recruitment comes through schools and teachers, parents who want to have their students or sons or daughters participate in the program. And
this is a siren call, because I know we have a lot of folks dialed in today, and it really is a siren call to encourage families who are not participating to really take advantage. Even with kids of our own, I mean, there's almost within parents sometimes a hesitancy because you put your kids out there, and there's a competition, and there's a win and a loss, and sometimes you tend to kind of insulate or want to protect your kids from that. But I get back to what I mentioned before about the joy and the happiness and all those elements that probably wouldn't have a chance to do without Special Olympics.
Absolutely, and it's free. What can you say against that?
Well, but we need you out there for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Support Cop on Top. And by the way, kudos, because that's a tremendous amount of revenue to help execute all the different programs you have.
It is, and for our athletes in particular in Hawaii, we have to fly our neighbor island athletes over to participate in state games from the neighbor islands.
Good point.
So those programs actually need to raise the funds to get their athletes over. But in addition to that, when they do get here, we provide them with housing, with meals for the duration of state games, transportation. Buses are ridiculous these days, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And, everything else from tenting to ice to water.
Right.
A lot of it is donated. We do have, for example, Hawaiian Isles Water is a water sponsor. They've provided, all the water we need for all of our games.
Right.
So we have many community members who are able to support us in that way. Kathleen Cook has come out for so many years.
Yes.
CNS Wholesale Group helps to provide just food for athletes, and Armstrong Produce is able to provide healthy fruits for athletes as well. So a lot of it is donated, but a lot of it, we just, for some reason, we can't get buses ever donated. Those companies are, there are only so many of them, and they have a business to run also.
Sure.
But things like that our prices are raising every year. So with that, we estimate that for a 3-sport athlete year-round, it costs about $1,000 per athlete to provide programming for one person per year.
That's pretty good. I mean, the fact that I'm glad we're chatting. I never would have known that not only the transportation, no entry fee, but being able to take care of and steward the athletes while they're here. Boy, that is a remarkable service. And we're talking about Cop on Top a little bit. By the way, reminding you that we're with Kyle Karioka, who is Development Manager of Special Olympics Hawaii, and you're on this edition of Community Matters. It's a public service program, of course, that is presented by this Clear Channel radio station. My name is Rick Kamada, and it's really a pleasure to get caught up with Kyle. We'll talk about seasons a little bit. So Summer Olympics, of course, very familiar. Tell us about some other ones that are coming up, competitions and things that people can participate in.
Our next big competition is the Holiday Classic coming up the first weekend of December. And we don't have winter sports, so we do many of our indoor sports here. That's basketball and bowling. Believe it or not, bowling is our most popular sport.
It is.
For athletes, yes. Obviously you're indoors and there's air conditioning, but...
Well, I'm sold.
But they do love to bowl. And a great part of the bowling program, actually, is our unified program, what's called our unified sports. And this is where athletes with intellectual disabilities participate on the same teams as those without intellectual disabilities. So, for example, Kauai High School has a thriving program now where they have formed teams of special needs athletes and non-special needs athletes. And this is a grant-funded program from Special Olympics International. And they help us to run this program with the intent of helping those without intellectual disabilities gain a better understanding of what those with disabilities are able to achieve.
Yeah. When I was a kid, it was all about the Olympics growing up. I mean, every 4 years or every 2 and then every 4-year cycle. Are kids still enamored with the Olympics? I mean, is there correlation, obviously, between the winter and summer that we all get immersed in, and then taking it literally on the field.
Absolutely, and it's a spectacle for us here in Hawaii as well. We have the torch run, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
We have an Olympic cauldron that Tesoro Hawaii graciously built for us. It's a gas powered cauldron that has a 3-foot flame shooting out in the air, and we light that every games, and our athletes love seeing the flame run in and the torch light up. So we make it exciting, we make it fun, and it all happens locally in Hawaii.
I know this is going to be a very unfair question, so please forgive me. But is there a particular moment involving a Special Olympian that in all the folks that you've seen and that really stands out for you? Is there a particular race or an event or an athlete that kind of is enduring in your memory?
Well, I was able to see a race a few years ago where one of our athletes had been participating for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing them finish the race, their parent was there to greet them at the end,
right,
and gave their son a huge hug. And then you could just see a few seconds later that father have to collect himself a little bit, and a couple of tears were shed. And we found out later that was the first athlete that he'd seen his son run, and the first time that he had seen him really achieve something and be proud of that achievement.
Right.
And that's, I guess, where the tears came from. And
that
was just a great moment.
A few tears here in a moment. Because that's what I endeared to organizations like Special Olympics Hawaii, because it's about providing opportunity. And I'm glad you mentioned also earlier that this isn't a contrived scenario. It is that opportunity to have all the great benefits that sports provides. So that's tremendous. As a national organization and also with events and such, do athletes from Hawaii compete in any other events, qualify here and go elsewhere?
Yes, we do have. Special Olympics North America does put on national games every 4 years, and also every 2 years World Games, Winter Olympics, and summer. So we are allotted a certain number of slots per state to send athletes to those games. So in 2011, there were the World Games in Athens, Greece, and we were able to send 4 athletes, a power lifter, a swimmer, and one runner. One of those runners in particular was a multi-gold medal winning athlete at those games. His name is Louis Perry. He's from Pahoa on the Big Island.
Right.
He was kind of a shy child growing up and didn't, really want to interact with others, largely related to his disability as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he soon joined the cross-country team and also joined Special Olympics, and that's when he was really able to flourish. So this man now, he's grown up and he's become a long-distance runner. He runs in the 20K events, and he brought back a gold medal from Athens for Hawaii in that race. And back in Pahoa, when he came home, the mayor was there to greet him. They declared a Louis Perry Day on the Big Island.
Great.
And just so proud to see the community come out for those athletes as well. So our athletes in Hawaii, not only are they able to compete locally, but we do have the opportunities to have them showcase their talents on a world stage as well.
Love that. And as you're telling me the story, I remember reporting on the accomplishments that Louis had. Thank you for reminding us of that. We're on Community Matters together and enjoying Kyle Karioka, who is the development manager for Special Olympics Hawaii. Folks that are listening right now, Kyle, if they're so inspired to want to contribute and maybe assist financially with Special Olympics Hawaii, how do you recommend they do that?
Sure. Well, if you're by Walmart today, you can go down and visit our Kappa account. But also, you can visit our website where you can make a donation online. You can become a monthly donor and join our fan club as well. It's a little booster club we have for Special Olympics. If you'd like to be a regular donor, it just starts at $5 a month. You get a cool shirt to probably show off your support.
Great.
But there are other things as well. If you'd like to be a corporate sponsor, if you'd like to include us in your will, if you'd like to donate any materials, like if you own a business that would like to help us with some food or providing meals for athletes as well.
Right.
We have all kinds of opportunities available, and there's all kinds of needs that we have as well.
In-kind donations.
Yes, absolutely.
So much appreciated. Yeah.
It's about a third of, when we calculate it, it's about a third of our budget is actually in kind donations. So,
yeah. Well, we're encouraging you. I know there are folks dialed in right now that are ready, willing, and able. So go ahead and make that call or go online and do that today. Now, last year, my birthday is in November. So we were staying in Waikiki at the Sheraton specifically. And I'm looking up and I'm seeing these people that are jumping off the side of the building. Now, there are some unusual things that you see in Waikiki. Jumping off the side of a building usually isn't one of them. But as I came to find out, talking with folks at the bottom, that it was a fundraising event. Now, little did I know that about a year later, you and I would be chatting, so you can tell us all about it. What's it called? What is the event? And tell us all about how very cool of an idea this is.
it does sound crazy, and, Rick, it does look crazy when you're seeing it, too. But it's called Over the Edge. It's a fundraiser for Special Olympics Hawaii. It's like a fun run, except instead of running 5K, you're jumping off the roof of the Sheraton Waikiki. And so we have professional rappelling specialists who will train people who have no experience in rappelling to be able to rappel.
Wow.
And all you need to do is raise funds for Special Olympics. It's a minimum of $1,000 to participate. The event is on November 3rd this year, so there's lots of time to get signed up and register. You can register online on our website as well, specialolympicshawaii.org. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's nothing you can do anywhere else in the state. And we do it once a year to support our athletes.
You've got to tell me who came up with this idea.
Well, there's a company on the mainland. They're called Over the Edge, actually, and they run these nationwide. If you've seen something like The Amazing Race, like that, where they had people rappelling off of towers, it's the same concept there.
Right.
And so they've become partners with Special Olympics groups. We were one of the first to sign up with them 3 years ago. Since then, they have about 40 events nationwide. About a third of them are Special Olympics-related events. And they have the expertise, and they haven't had a single injury throughout their entire 5 years of running. A completely safe record. So we signed on with them, actually, because of the financial crisis in 2008, 2009 had depleted our budget, with many of our corporate and foundation sponsors.
Sure.
So we were looking for something to help fill that gap, and, we signed on with Over the Edge. We raised $180,000 that first year.
Really? Does that mean 118 people actually rappelled, or?
We were full with about 120 spots.
Wow.
So 180,000, 180, not 180.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Almost $200,000, and we actually broke their Over the Edge record for a first year event.
Excellent.
In Hawaii, and that event was able to save our holiday classic that year. We were actually threatening to cancel it because of the financial difficulties, but that year and every year since, Over the Edge has been able to provide the funds to help continue that event.
That is fantastic. So what are the requirements? Because I know my 9-year-old would do it in a heartbeat, but my heart would fall out of my chest watching this. So what are some of the basic requirements to participate?
You do have to be at least 18 or over on event day,
Okay.
which is November 3rd, and that's for liability purposes. Under 300 pounds and raise a minimum of $1,000 for Special Olympics Hawaii by the date of the event, so you've got a lot of time. We make it very easy by providing you with a website that people can donate directly to your efforts.
Great
you can just
idea.
email it out to your friends, put it on your Facebook, your Twitter, and it's just quick, fast, easy, and secure. Over the last 4 years, about 80% of those who signed up have been able to meet the goal. And, $1,000 does sound like a lot of money, but for them, that was probably the largest amount of money they've ever raised for themselves in their lives.
Sure.
And it's a very rare case where you're not able to reach the goal. So for those of you who might be scared of that $1,000 goal, I really say don't be scared. Give it a shot. This is something that you can't ever do anywhere else in Hawaii, and once in a lifetime experience.
There is, and again, I was so very surprised to see it last year. And that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, first of all, I've never seen it in Hawaii before. And the folks that are doing it, alternately, some were just like kids, again, on a Triple E ticket ride at Disneyland. I mean, they're just like, ah. And there were a couple going like, holy smokes, what am I doing? But by the time they came down, elated that they had gone through that experience.
It's a great fit with our program as well, because, we encourage our athletes to live their lives without fear, to not be afraid to perform, to overcome what others might think that might not be possible for them.
Right.
And going over the edge is that same thing for all of us as well. It's overcoming a fear.
Right.
It's living, without inhibitions. It's doing what other people think you might not be able to do. And so that's what makes it such a great fit with our program. And I did it last year. I am terrible with heights. I don't like thrill seeking.
Right.
I would rather be watching a movie than be on a roller coaster. But I am so glad I did it, and it's an experience I will never forget.
So I got to ask you, Kyle, so what was the key? What was the key of, because for me it would be the actual going up the elevator, walking up on the roof, looking out over the horizon, pretty much nose to nose with Diamond Head, and then putting on the equipment and going over the edge. I mean, can you relate a little bit of that for us, how you were feeling?
Well, the crew we have makes it very comfortable and very easy for everybody. So you have a one-story practice rappel that they do before they take you up to the roof. When you get up to the roof, you're escorted with somebody through the whole way, so you're not just alone and kind of stewing in your fear.
Yes.
So there's somebody there with you to help you throughout the whole thing. Once they get you up, the scariest part is putting your feet over that over that bar and on the roof. But once you get over that and get over the fact that you're 317 feet above the ground, suspended by a rope, it's pretty fun.
Once you wrap your head around that a little bit.
Yeah, once you get that in,
it's
not that bad.
The rest is gravy.
Of course, the view is unparalleled.
Oh.
And it's not like you're skydiving, you're rappelling, so it's a controlled descent. You get to control how fast you go down. And of course, there's a safety to prevent you from going too fast.
Yes. I congratulate you. Very well done. Can we have the dates again and also how folks can do this?
Sure. It's November 3rd. It's a Saturday. They can sign up online to register, www.specialolympicshawaii.org. We have 120 spots open, and we have about 60 spots that are already taken.
Okay.
So I'd encourage anybody who would like to sign up to do so very quickly since the spots are going fast.
You do something that, and I'm not sure I've seen this with other organizations. You break down for the $1,000 for Over the Edge. Can you walk us through a little bit? I think this is so important to note, and it can be applied to other ways that you can be generous in raising funds. So can you help us?
Sure. Well, we have a little chart on our Over the Edge brochure, and it breaks down how, a very easy way of raising $1,000. So you have 5 generous friends give you $50, 10 of your family members give you $25. Your significant other gives you $100. If they can't give you $100, you've got a clear problem with your significant other.
That would be insignificant other if that doesn't happen.
You have 5 neighbors give you $10, 20 coworkers give you $5, and your personal donation of $100. And if also, many times your company will also match funds that you contribute. So that's another $100, and you're easily there at the $1,000.
Yeah. Boy, that's very well done. Why is $1,000 a significant number?
Well, $1,000 is how much it costs to provide 1 year of programming for one athlete.
I see. Right.
So, and all of that, as I mentioned earlier, is provided free of charge.
Right.
So when you go over the edge and you raise $1,000, you are enabling one athlete to participate in Special Olympics for 1 year.
Yeah. How about Special Olympics Hawaii presence on the neighbor islands? Can you chat a little bit about where and all of that?
Sure. We are on all of the neighbor islands, Maui, Lanai, Big Island, and Kauai. Great area programs out there. They are also participating in Kapa on Top this weekend, so, if you're listening in Kona,
sure.
Please stop by your Walmart and Queen Kahumanu Shopping Center.
Mm-hmm. But
they have area programs there that they participate in, and they also come over to Oahu for our state programs as well.
Yeah. What's, as far as beyond the athletic standpoint of the actual participation, and when you mention programs, are there other avenues in which Special Olympics assists athletes and families beyond the athletics?
Yes. So I want to tell you about our Healthy Athlete program, actually, related to that. For Special Olympics, you need to, the one requirement you have, other than having an intellectual disability, is to have a medical form filled out by a doctor performing a physical. And we found that actually can become a huge barrier for some people who don't have access to health care, especially those with intellectual disabilities. Yeah. So we organize events throughout the year called MedFest that will bring in doctors who are volunteers who will provide these physicals to our athletes so they can get their medicals formed out and medical forms filled out and participate in our program. So that's how it started. But beyond that, we also, at our summer games, have dozens of physicians come in and other clinicians who perform diagnostic activities on our athletes as well to test their hearing, their teeth, their feet, their overall physical fitness, things like that. It's called our Healthy Athlete Village. And for many of our athletes, that's the only health screening they'll get all year. We even have an eye program that donates glasses for new athletes who need them, and they can get the exam right at our summer games.
Isn't that something? I would imagine that there are other organizations. Do you partner up with other folks, maybe even other nonprofits, to kind of coalesce together and work together on certain projects, programs, events?
Not exactly. Well, a lot of our volunteer groups are nonprofits as well, like the Knights of Columbus.
Right.
You know, organizations like that, Rotary clubs and Lions clubs who come out to help volunteer. But, you know, we're considered a service provider in some ways, but we're primarily a sports organization.
Mm-hmm.
So being a sports organization, you know, our primary mission is to provide the sports training and competition. So a lot of the organizations we partner with are like the softball officials group who will help to come out and officiate our softball games. Same thing with swimming and those various club associations have been very instrumental in helping keep our program going.
That's awesome. Love all of this and more. All right, we're enjoying our conversation today with Kyle Korioka, Development Manager of Special Olympics Hawaii. Kyle, if folks want to contact you directly and have a chat or learn more, how can they do so?
Sure. My direct line is 695-3533. Or you can send me an email, Kyle K, that's K-Y-L-E-K, at specialolympicshawaii.org. I'd be happy to speak with you about anything you need relating to Over the Edge or volunteering or becoming a corporate sponsor, or any questions you might have with Special Olympics at all.
Right. You mentioned before about outreach to schools and such. Is there an actual partnership with the DOE, or is it on a school-by-school basis? How does that work?
We do have a partnership with the DOE that allows us to come in to help recruit programs to participate in our program. One great thing that we have every year, a big outreach event, is called Sports Day, held at my alma mater, Roosevelt High School.
Yay!
Where we bring it, where Roosevelt students will help to organize activities for athletes that we bus in from schools that do not have Special Olympics programs.
Okay.
So we bring these athletes in, we help them, we help play games with them. So like we have a track and field venue, we have a bocce ball venue, we teach them how to play bocce. We have a little soccer penalty kick area where they get to, kick soccer balls, and that gives them a taste of Special Olympics. It's organized and paid for by Special Olympics, but primarily run by Roosevelt students. So that's a great partnership as well. But that's our primary outreach event throughout for the year. It occurs in January, and we give them a taste of Special Olympics in the hopes that they will become athletes.
And that they'll come on board and experience everything, yeah?
Yes.
When we talk about governmental relationship, DOE to a certain extent would have to be considered that. Do you enjoy funding from state, federal, and if so or if not, how does that affect your group?
We have a few grants that are from the federal government, but it's a very small portion of our government. Of our budget, I should say. We do not believe in being dependent on the taxpayers for our funding. And so the vast majority of our funds, over 80%, over 90%, does come from foundations, corporations, individuals, and not the government.
Yeah. And it's a question that comes up quite a bit with nonprofits. The percentage of $1 that stays in Hawaii for the local organization?
100% of funds raised in Hawaii stay in Hawaii. We don't have to pay dues to the national organization. They are able to take care of themselves.
Okay.
But every dollar we raise through Cop on Top, through Over the Edge, will stay in Hawaii for the benefit of our local athletes.
Still trip out that you're rappelling down a building that high. If
you want to do it, Rick, I'd be happy to help you.
Well, that's okay. I think I'm a great witness to all of this. Yeah, it just looks like a blast. So We've covered a little bit of ground, Cup on Top, Over the Edge, of course, just mentioned, and the Holiday Classic, culminating with another great competition. What are the dates of the Holiday Classic and where the venues are going to be again, please?
Holiday Classic is December 3rd and 4th on base at Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps Base, Joint Base Hickam, Pearl Harbor. Bowling centers there and also gyms there. So
yeah,
if you're on base, please come out and see us.
Do you find, can folks come out and watch and enjoy as spectators?
Sure. Getting on base is a little difficult, but if you're able to get there, by all means, come down and say hi.
Right. Any thought about expansion of the 9 core sports and events that you have already?
We have had discussions about various things in the past. Like we have a demonstrative golf program on the Big Island.
Okay.
But so we have sponsors for that program as well. So the primary barrier is, of course, funding. So if we are able to raise more throughout the year, then we would be able to provide more support.
Understand. Kind of dovetail on that just a little bit as you look ahead down the road, so to speak. What do you see for Special Olympics Hawaii? What do you portend for the organization, and what would you like to accomplish?
Well, our biggest goal would love to be to get all 14,000 people who have intellectual disabilities into our program so that they can benefit from what our athletes currently benefit from.
Sure.
We just hired a person to coordinate our Project Unify program, which I mentioned earlier, which is the program that puts athletes with intellectual disabilities on the same teams as those without intellectual disabilities. That program is expanding. We just signed on a partnership with After School All Stars, which is a after-school program for middle school at-risk youth. Mm-hmm. And so they're also forming unified teams of athletes with intellectual disabilities, athletes without intellectual disabilities, Washington Middle School, Nanakuli. We have about 11 schools involved in that program, and that's thriving. We're in our second year. So we're still growing, and our goal has always been, first and foremost, to find more athletes to serve, but also to spread greater awareness within the greater community of what our athletes are able to achieve.
Right. I just would love to have a chat sometime, and of course, even on the morning show, and actually talk with the athletes and really get their perspective of what the participation is for them, and then also have their parents with them, because you've kind of given us a pretty good idea. But to hear it firsthand, I think would be delightful. Are there outlets and avenues for parents and their athletes, or even adult athletes, to really share their thoughts and their experiences with folks?
Sure, I'm glad you brought that up, Rick, because we actually have a Toastmasters program.
Oh, wonderful.
In Special Olympics. We were the first Special Olympics group to form a Toastmasters program. And so we have athletes that we train to become speakers on behalf of the Special Olympics. They're called Global Messengers. And they go out to community groups, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, sure, and help share the message of what Special Olympics means to them, because they do it a lot better than I do.
Good for that. Good for that idea. Is that something new, unique to Hawaii, or is that a Special Olympics at large program?
We were the first ones to start that group. Our vice president of programming, Nipho, heads that up now for Special Olympics, and she does an amazing job. So we were the first, and there are many other groups now who have them, but it's not a
That's tremendous.
Global thing yet.
It's still a great idea. So we have just about 3.5 minutes left or so. Kyle, would you do us a favor? Let's go down and just remind folks of the events that are coming up next. And, of course, with contact information of how folks can attend, participate, or even encourage their children or relatives, friends, etc., to participate too.
Sure. Well, the best place to get all that information is our website, www.specialolympicshawaii.org. Today, Sunday, we have Cop on Top going on at all Walmart stores. If you're able to go shopping today, please stop by, say hi to our cops. Hopefully drop in a small donation for Special Olympics Hawaii. Also, a fundraiser coming up is our Over the Edge event on Saturday, November 3rd, where you can rappel from the roof of the Sheraton Waikiki in support of Special Olympics athletes. You can sign up on our website for that as well. And all of those events will help to fund our Holiday Classic event coming up December 3rd and 4th. Hickam Air Force Base, Pearl Harbor, and K-Bay Marine Corps Base for bowling, basketball, and bocce ball for about 800 athletes statewide. So that's the rest of the year. It's a busy time for us. and we're very excited to get it all done.
What is it? Again, I asked you what you loved about your job, which is a kind of a rote question, but that element of service that I think resonates within just about everyone. I think people naturally would like to be able to assist and help and nurture and things of that nature. You get to do it, as many others, as a career. I'm going to speak to folks who maybe are kind of sitting on the fence a little bit about, can you assuage some of their concerns about volunteering, about participating, and being part of an organization that has such a great mission such as yours?
Well, we're very good stewards of the community and of money donated. But beyond that, we're able to provide a real experience for these athletes that helps them succeed in life and succeed, not just on the playing field, but in life as well. And if you're afraid to become a volunteer, to become a donor, just come out to one of our competitions and see how it affects our athletes, how it affects the families, and, just really what Special Olympics can do to improve the quality of life for athletes with intellectual disabilities and their families as well.
Very well put. I'm going to ask for your telephone number and email address again, Kyle, if you don't mind.
Sure. Direct line is 695-3533, and my email address is kylek@specialolympicshawaii.org. We are working on Sunday since it is Cop on Top, so I'll be happy to answer the phone if you give me a call, and I'll be happy to speak with you.
So again, when you're down at your local Walmart or et cetera today, be sure, and now folks will be literally milling about. You won't be able to miss.
Can't miss them. They have Cop on Top T-shirts on, and
right.
They'll be making announcements, just asking folks to support.
Yeah. Listen, Kyle Karioka is a development manager for Special Olympics Hawaii. I want to thank you very much for taking the time out to join us here in studio, and we wish you all the very best. And not only with Cop on Top today, but also with the games that are coming up and everything else that you do all year round.
Thanks so much for having us, Rick.
It's a pleasure. The opportunity. Thank you so much. All righty, Kyle Karioka. He, our guest for this edition of Community Matters, and produced and presented by this Clear Channel radio station. I really want to encourage you folks to head on out today and really enjoy not only the spectacle of seeing our friends who literally are perched high above, but please understand that they are being tremendously generous with their time and their experience. So when you're out today, please support Special Olympics Hawaii. My name is Rick Kamada. I am your host. It's a delight to be with you on this Aloha Sunday. Be sure and tune back with us next week with another great guest as we learn more about our community, because as you know, our community matters. Thanks so very much. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. We wish you the warmest of aloha. Take care and see you next time.